Well, wait, where'd he go? There you are.
I was trying to make an entrance. How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh, well, the music got me. I was dancing and just slid. So I figured I'd come back over here. Hello, everybody. Hello. Some of y'all been in here for a minute, looks like. 2 o'clock this afternoon, posting back and forth. Big night tonight, guys. We are going to unveil the giveaway for next week's live. And we're trying to make this one to where, one, we're going to try to keep from like robots and scammers from winning it by requiring folks to be here, be present to win, all that good stuff. But I'm going to tell you, it's actually going to be something that most everybody in here is going to want to take a chance on winning. So we're not going to get into that just yet. We're going to let everybody get here, get the live rolling, and then we'll get into that. But I think y'all are going to be pretty impressed with what Steve has managed to get going for this live. And we're working on the Christmas live, which we plan on being much, much bigger this year than what it was last year. So,
Yep.
So what's up with you, Steve, over there, other than, injuring yourself?
Yeah, no. It's been a week. I started out a little under the weather, stayed home from work a day, and been trying to get caught up on some things. Dropped a teaser of one of my new videos coming out. I didn't quite get stuff finished up, but was playing around with cutting brass metal on the XTool F1. So, it's a 20-watt fiber laser, so really any 20-watt would be able to probably replicate this, but taking advantage of the dual laser mode and the kind of the bigger working area of that one to work on some stuff. So hopefully here I'm working through a few different processes and a few different things for the video, but hopefully have that out here this week. But thought I'd drop a teaser with that YouTube short out there. And other than that, it's I don't know, this week just kind of flew by. I got away from me with some stuff. It's fall time here. They got the leaf sucking machine coming around, and they come around Monday morning. So it's like I got to do it. I mean, it's nice that I have the weekend, but like Sundays with this in the evening, other things get kind of busy for me. So today was a bit of bouncing around. Didn't get as much shop time going as I wanted to, but I'm here.
Well, I've had a busy weekend myself. I did spend yesterday all day at an event, the one for the Humane Society. And I've seen some guys talking about how they did their first event and it was a bust and, blah, blah, blah. Guys, this was one of the, as far as my revenue, I don't like to say it was my worst event because it wasn't a bad event. I go to each one of these events, hoping to make money, but trying to at least have fun, make contacts, network, and all that kind of stuff. But as far as revenue goes, this was one of my lowest paying events I've been to in a long time. Part of it may have been because I went resting heavy on the pet tags because it was a pet related event where you like dressed your dog up and put like glasses on them and stuff and brought them to the park. And come to find out, there was somebody that was there that was doing them. They were doing the same thing that I was doing, but they were donating all proceeds to the Humane Society. So even though I had donated my $350 prior to the event, I guess that had more of an appeal. So I don't know if that was what got me or if it was just the time of the month, the time of the week or what, but I didn't do anywhere near what I was expecting to in sales, but I had a good time. Klein and Billy both came and hung out with me. Got to meet some interesting people, a couple of guys from the show. And I do want to give them a good shout out because they did come by and visit with me. First, there was Dodd Design. This is how I keep up with who I meet too, by the way. There was Dodd Designs stopped by. He does all kinds of cool stuff, laser related, and as well as I believe he told me he was getting his foot into the CNC world with the Jinmitsus. I think actually both of these guys said they had Jinmitsus, or all three of them, I think. And then Lavelle's Laser Hobby Shop. So those two guys, and I've got to do some more follow up. And I'm sorry, guys, y'all know I'm terrible with names and math, but that's why I got the business card, took a picture of it, so that even if I lose the business card, I can still look you up on Facebook or whatever. But I got to talk to those guys and talk shop for a little while. That was fun. I just didn't, I didn't have to have an escort to the bank after the event, but that's okay. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. Got to meet some new people and see some pretty cool setups, and walk around and visit with some of my friends that I've met over the years at these shows. So don't get frustrated if you have a bad day. Everybody has them, and this was nowhere near my first detail or first event, and I stunk it up. So it's sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. That's just the way it works.
Yeah. I usually go into those with the hope that if nothing else, it's some advertising, getting your name out there.
Yeah.
And we were out of town. The local Humane Society had a similar event, and that's when I was up at the North Shore. Otherwise, I was thinking of doing what that other person was doing, was kind of go there with some blanks and just say, hey, minimum donation to the Humane Society, I'll give you a one free pet tag or something like that.
Well, I went for the approach of, I donated them a time clock for the Humane Society because they needed one. Volunteered the use of my PA system and everything that I have, and was like, their gold sponsorship package was like $350 or something like that. And so I did all of that. And like I said, I wasn't too concerned with it because, animals is kind of one of my things that I care about. And, but yeah, when I got there, I was like, oh, this is going to make my job interesting. But the good news is, because it was close to Christmas, and luckily I did find my business cards. I had put them somewhere they weren't supposed to be, but I had at least 4 or 5 people come by and go, hey, I've been looking for somebody like you because I have my dad or my granddad or whatever, and they're hard to buy for, but I've been wanting to get a sign made for their shop. I've been wanting to get this made, get that made. And so if all of my referrals that I made come through, then that'll make up for the revenue that I didn't get, because a couple of the ladies were wanting 4 foot wide by 2 foot tall signs, CNC, stuff like that, jobs that are going to pay pretty good. So hopefully all that'll pan out in the long run, as well as I think Billy and Klein both got a couple of jobs while they were there. So as long as we all end up making a little bit of money off of it, I'll be happy. So, and it was fun. Other than, I'm still, this leg and back still kind of giving me a little bit of trouble, but I managed to work through it. Yeah. Thanks to ibuprofen.
Yep. Well, some of them are like that, but it sounds like if nothing else, it was a good cause, and if you make it up with some referrals, that's great. So definitely something though I know that we've talked about is keeping not having just the revenue be the metric of whether it was a successful show or not. So
yeah, there goes Brian again. Oh, Brian, you can count on him to have something funny to say anyway. Let's see. I try to catch some of these. Most everybody seems to be
starting too early.
I can't help it, dude. This week has been rough.
Yeah.
Ball game Friday night. Then I had the event Saturday morning, and the ball game Friday night was a pretty late one. So it's been this week's not been very productive as far as my shop stuff goes. I had a Taste of Chilton event with my wife this week, which was like a fundraiser for the Rotary Club here in town. I had it one night this week. Then there was a golf tournament / supper to benefit the Chamber of Commerce scholarship program that I had to go to another night. I don't play golf. I just went to the supper and listened to them speak and stuff. And then I had the football game, and then I had the event. So we've had me and Brandy worse than me because she's been running more than I have. But we've had 4 events this week, not counting kids going to band practice and stuff like that. It's been a little crazy. October has quickly became the worst, busiest month we have around here. So we're looking forward to November.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit up here too. I mean, as much as winter can be cold and annoying, it's also a good excuse to take a break, not be quite so busy. So
yeah. Ed's got a question here while we're at it. And I haven't really ran my F1 with Lightburn, so you may need to answer this one.
Is there a way to switch? Yeah. So when you want to grab their device configuration, and in that it'll have it'll create some of the macro buttons, and there's one that you need to click. I just I bought a new computer today for the shop, and so I have like blank Lightburn installed. Otherwise, I'd show you. But yeah, you add the device file, and then on the macro buttons, it will have something that allows you to switch the job to IR from the blue diode. It's one of my annoyances with how Lightburn's. I'd rather be able to switch it and have it stay on that until I switch it back or power cycle the machine. But you got to do it after every job. You got to tell it again, switch it over to the IR. So. But it should be, if you download the device file from XTool for Lightburn for the F1, it should install those for you.
Yeah, I was looking to see if they had a like a little quick tutorial or something on it. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's been a while, and it's on should be on my laptop because I use that portable. But like I say, I switched after having some issues the past couple of weeks with the laptop and dropping some Bluetooth and other things. I dropped a desktop out here that I've had for a little while that I've been meaning to put out here, and finally just getting it set up. But that should be the way for that.
Yeah, that's like I said, I've used mine. I run mine on my portable shack, and I use it a lot, but I use it with XCS.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the article that covers that, connecting it. It's got the links for the little config file and everything. So that is where you need to go to get that on XTool's website. So it'll show you, and let me get it over here on the screen. It'll have basically everything you need to know as far as downloading. But if you already have Lightburn, you're just going to start right here and get this F1 config file, and then just follow the directions, and that should get you set up. And kind of like Steve said, they typically use macros. I thought it might show them on here.
It does. It's about halfway down the page.
Yeah, there they are.
Green box. Keep going. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it adds a red button. What does it call it? Red laser, blue laser.
Red laser, blue laser, rotary frame, rotary close. Yeah. So there they are right there. So that's what you will get once you configure with the Lightburn. So there you go. Why is it always? Oh, okay. That was my all right. That was a delayed response. I got it. But yeah.
Speaking of small galvos, Vince is wondering, what are your thoughts on the longer Nano?
I had it. I used it as far as it depends on what your purpose for having a laser is. A friend of mine right now has the Nano, and he makes charcuterie boards, cutting boards, that kind of stuff, like some sure enough nice stuff. He has it to use to put his maker's mark on the back of those boards, because with the Nano, once you set the focus, if you're like just setting it on top of something and engraving it, you really don't have to go change it a whole lot. It works great for what he's doing. He likes it because he can use a phone app, and literally when he does a cutting board or whatever, he just takes it over there, sits it on top of it, open up the phone app, hit the burn button, and he's put his maker's mark on there. It works great for what he's using it for, and for that application, I think it would be fine. Wasn't a fan of trying to run it with Lightburn to do anything else, though. The rotary and the little sling bed that it came with were just, I had a lot of problems, and maybe it's just me because I'm stuck in my ways, but I was not a fan of those two attachments. But just using it in like flat engrave, it worked fine. But that's, like I said, I'm a little particular because I can't handle it if I have to learn too much, like to adapt the way I normally run Lightburn to use a machine, it gets frustrating to me, and I lose interest. You haven't used the Nano, but it's basically the Nano and the Laser Pecker. Was it 4? Are very similar, except for the Nano only has the blue light. I mean, as far as the way they operate and everything, it's very similar.
Yeah, that's like the Laser Pecker 2. Which is what I do have somewhere. It's just a Galvo blue light blue diode laser.
But it was a decent use for it to do that, because he was using like an iron, like a Brandon iron, and it broke, and so he decided he wanted to use a little Galvo. So I was like, hey, take this with you, try it. If you like it, just hang on to it because I don't need it. If you don't like it, bring it back to me and I'll stick it, back in my inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't brought it back yet, so I'm guessing he's still enjoying it. Sure. Let's see. Well, Teresa, if you haven't already, make sure you're on the map that we do for the Laser Engraving community page, because I know in when is it? February or March, whenever WBC is, I'll be going back to Atlanta, and you're going this year too, right?
I've
I thought you said you already bought your ticket and everything.
Yep, I've registered for it. I'm still debating my travel plans.
Yeah, so
as far as how and what.
But yeah, I should be there this year. I think Brandy's going to go with me if she don't change her mind. So we'll go forward with the fact that I will be there, and more than likely Brandy, and hopefully Steve as well, if nothing happens. So Let's see here.
I'm strongly considering just driving down again.
Woohoo!
Because my distaste.
Well, if you can make it to here, we can carpool over to Atlanta.
Well, yeah, and that's we'll talk about it and see what's going on that time of year too, because whether it's during that or instead of doing my normal split vacation, and maybe I'll just come down and we'll plan a solid nice, maybe not a whole week, but I don't know, maybe a week. Well,
hey, that'll be on my last 8 months or so. So sure.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be
well, I guess maybe I might have to come down there in the fall for the big Clack retirement barbecue.
Hey, we're gonna have we may have an online karaoke party. I'm trying to figure out the logistics of that.
Well. But yeah, no. We'll definitely have a couple times where we're probably going to be in the same spot, but we do. I was just at Minnesota Woodworkers Expo a couple weeks ago. I may be working with local Woodcraft on some stuff as well, so you'll definitely hear about that around here if that comes to fruition.
I just figured I'd move that up where you can see it. I found out that Woodcraft's actually selling XTool products now. I didn't know that. But yeah, and we have one in just north of me. But yeah, I don't go up there a whole lot. But I was like, yeah, next time I go up there, I might have to check that out. Because last time I went up there, I went and looked at their CNCs, and they had sharks, and that was all they had. So let's see here. Yeah, Brian says that craft shows can be like kids, sometimes exciting, sometimes boring. They take a lot of time, and you can only hope that they'll provide you money in your retirement years. Yeah. I've had good luck. Like the Peach Jam that I did this summer, man, we killed it. And I ran out of everything I had. Like I sold out of blanks. Well, this time I after I ran out of blanks that last time, I bought like $800 worth of blanks and loaded my trailer down. Like I've got so much anodized and stainless steel and dog tags and pins and bottle openers. Like I bet I've got 50 pounds of that stuff. And then this week, man, I was ready. I was loaded for bear. I got there early. Had a few spots in some of my displays that were empty, so I, replenished those, engraved some stuff and thrown it up there. When the crowd started coming in, it started getting a little busy. But there was a lot of looking, but not a lot of buying. And I don't know if that's a side effect of the economy, the end of the month type thing, because it is like it was the 26th of the month. It's getting close to Christmas, so I don't know if it was a combination of that and people tightening their belt, or just maybe they just weren't interested in my pet tags, even though there were more dogs at this event than there were at the last one. I don't know. But like I said, I did land a few after the fact jobs that I should be getting contacted about. So that's good. What's up, Greg? Over at STL Woodworking. How are you, sir? He's from over there around Atlanta. I'm sure he'll be nearby during WBC if he's not there again.
Yep. So Ralph's asking in reference to my video on cutting EVA foam. Was curious if I'd done any of the Pepakura, which is for people that don't know, it's kind of a you take flat sheets, it's generally done with paper, and you take flat sheets and you print out and then cut out shapes, and then you build them into 3D 3D objects. And I can show you really quick one. If I can bring it up, we'll do this. So these are some examples of it. Some of them are very fancy, but like this panda here, you can kind of see that's, folded paper and such. There's some crazy fancy ones, but like here's a dolphin. And so the idea is you get this pattern that, and they're not really showing them here, but it will create kind of these patterns that have tabs that you fold into each other and glue and tape into each other. And it eventually creates a 3D model. So yeah, in theory, you should be able to do this with EVA foam. But as you see, some of these are cut lines. Some of them are just like fold lines. So the trick would be to find the setting with the laser where it's going to maybe score the foam to make that fold line, but leave kind of like a hinge to where it's only going maybe half to 3/4 way through, but allows it to fold one way or the other. So
because you wouldn't want to use perforation for that, would you? Because it would go all the way through.
Well, it needs to fold. It needs to be kind of crisp lines. So it depends on what type of shape you're going for. You could try perforation. What I've done on a lot of them is, you score it just enough to be able to create a hinge and fold it.
I was going to say just enough not to go all the way through, but yeah.
So definitely would be something to play around with, but I think it would be a matter of trying to dial in that line setting to still leave it connected. But I hadn't actually thought about that, and now I've after seeing the comments and looking at that, I'm like, that could be. You got to try this. Certain models would be really difficult because you'll have folding both directions, but certain ones would
maybe some basic. You can do some basic designs with it, doing it that way. Yes, Teresa, I did. I made this one. I did a video on it and put it on my Etsy shop, and you can use it for other things, but I did this one for Christmas. The days are not correct. That was actually the days that it was at when I made it, but I made it to where it was scalable and kind of just showed that it is scalable. And there's a spider on that one. Where he came from, but yeah. So there you go. But there's a video that I did on these. And Bill came over. We also designed this. So it was yeah. So you can start all the way over here on was that 24, like days to Christmas, and then you can count them down. I just put this generic logo on here because Bill was talking about he saw this file on Etsy that he was wanting to buy, and it had like basically like little pins that had to go in the back to hold it together and everything. And I was like, dude, I could like make that in like 10 minutes, that design. And he's like, what? So I was just racing to try to make it in 10 minutes. So I didn't have time to make a different design. So I just literally just throw the Christmas design on the front of it. But the way I did it, it didn't require any pins. It's just the centerpiece is cut and then the outer piece rotates around the centerpiece. So it avoids that whole need for having to secure something. All you had to have was a little bit of CA glue to put on it. You got me thinking about the EVA foam to put on either side. So I did that, and then we made it to where, of course, it is also, I showed him where it is also scalable with this one, which my little tab needed to be a little longer. You can't really see in there because it's so dark. Yeah. But my little tab's a little short on this one. But yeah, we've been playing around this week. I haven't done anything with these yet. This is just something we did playing because he kind of looked at me funny when I told him I could make that file in 10 minutes. He didn't believe me.
Yeah. Brian, I did not get a mini split. I've actually had this computer a while. There was an esports shop place in town that they started. I don't know. They started in kind of late in COVID, and that kind of stalled them trying to be able to start up, because it's a big place, a lot of people playing on computers and such. And so these computers had like almost no use, and they went out of business, and they had an auction, a local auction where you could buy the gaming chairs, the desks, the computers and such. But the thing was, if you didn't go and inspect them, you wouldn't have known that they actually didn't come with a hard drive and an operating system. So some people were probably a bit disappointed, but I was able to snag some deals on a couple things there. And it's been intended to come out to the shop and be kind of replace my setup out here. It's just things have been fluid out here that I haven't had the chance to do that. But after having some problems the past couple of weeks with my laptop, I decided to go ahead and get that going. Man, you make a lot of noise over there.
I'm sorry. I had to go get something. I got a question coming up. My chair. You don't have to roll around in my chair. Yeah, I was thinking maybe you got a mini split. But Multicraft's asking that I use a tramming bar to level the Shipoko after it was built. And no, not exactly. I 3D printed this little contraption right here. And the way that it works is basically you chuck it in here. And so, I mean, it is a tramming bar, but it's not like something fancy that I ordered that has gauges or anything like that on it. This is literally just a 3D printed file. And you chuck it in, and then you can rotate it. But it has basically you just put like a pin or 1/8 inch drill. I think I used 1/8 inch bits is what this is set up for. You take an 1/8 inch end mill and put it through there, and you can use it to check everything. It wasn't really like literally it wasn't out much because the way the Shipoko is built, once you tighten everything down, it more or less pulls itself square. But I did find myself loosening it a little bit and having to kind of just bump the bottom of the spindle to get it to shift just a little tiny amount before I could get complete level without any kind of scalloping. So yeah, that's what I used. So I don't remember exactly where I got this 3D print file, but I'm pretty sure I just downloaded it somewhere. Could have been Thingiverse or it could have been James Dean. I don't remember if James Dean had a 3D printed one or not, because I did look at a lot of his stuff when he was, and so I may have went back and grabbed this from James Dean, because I made this when I had the Genmitsu, the very, very first one that I had, and then I just used it on the Shipoko too, because it works. As long as you can put a, chuck it down on that, you're good. And this should be the same as a quarter 1/4 inch bit, if I'm not mistaken. 5.88 millimeters, which is 0.2 inches or 15/64. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I use. And it was fairly simple. It didn't take a lot of time. Literally, I just loosened the screws, bumped it a little bit, and got it to where it would work. I want to do my own design, and what I want to do though is use a pencil instead of a drill bit. I think that little faint pencil line would be really cool because you could be able to tell, exactly where it's hitting. So next time I do one, I'll probably design my own one, and I'm going to jump out of my chair instead of sliding this time. But a lot of my stuff for mine is 3D printed. These are the 3D printed hold down things that I use. So.
Knotboard Woodworking is asking any good honeycombs that aren't crazy expensive, 16-inch by 16-inch or 400 by 400, slightly bigger, preferably for use with magnets. Both of us have some recommendations, and if you hit up our Amazon shops, you'll see them. The one that I've got on mine is from Dady Wheels, and they have a 450 by 450 for about, right now it's actually on sale. Well, there's smaller ones on sale, but this one's a deal at about $38. That one is aluminum though, so you're not gonna be able to use the magnets. But honestly, I use a lot of the hold down clips over magnets quite a bit. So that is an option. Otherwise, there is the Geek Bee is another one. I'm trying to find the link for that. That one, they have a few different sizes. That is steel bed, and will allow you to use magnets with that one. And we'll try to find you the link for that one real quick.
What was this other honeycomb that we got? We got the big ones.
There's Nivel, and Nivel is another one that was the bigger one.
This is the Dady Wheels over here. This is what the new one I've got in my enclosure.
Sorry. The Geek is actually currently unavailable for the smaller size.
Somebody needs to clean in here. It's dusty up in there. It looks a lot dustier with the lights out. But the Dady Wheels ones, I've had good luck with the one that I've got in my enclosure Zilla, and I think they make a smaller one.
Yeah, I'm putting a link out to the, if you're just looking for a very inexpensive one, it is aluminum, but it's fairly inexpensive. And like I say, I'll use either the 3D printed or the laser cut hold down clamps. I tend to use those over magnets quite a bit. But if you want the steel one, which is better, you end up paying a little bit more for it. There are some options out there, and I'm sure we can find one. But either way, if you're trying to find either of our shops, and whether you're looking for some of our recommendations or just want to use our links to help support us, if you go to amazon.com/shop and either Vintari or the Clack Shack, that's where you can kind of find a lot of our recommended support equipment on there, and then we get a little credit for directing you to their site, and Jeff Bezos gets just a little bit less richer.
Yeah. For those that are asking, I did drop a link in the comments to Workbench Con. That's anything if you want to come, or if you want to just plan to be in the area or whatever, and if there's enough folks, I'm pretty sure I can speak for Steve as well. While we're over there, if there's enough folks that want to say get together and like go out to Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, be more than glad to do so. I had some folks this past March that when we went over that we were going to do that, but that wound up had some stuff came up. But me and a couple of the other content creators from the event went ahead and went to Buffalo Wild Wings and hung out on our own. So if it's something that you think you might want to do, put that on your calendar. Just let us know ahead of time, and I'll try to have a post up to let everybody know what day or when I'm going to be going out to eat or whatever. Because usually when we're over there, we're probably going to be going out to eat every night somewhere because there's not a lot of options other than the motel that we stay in. Typically, they've got hamburgers and stuff like that in the lobby. But I like to get out and try some different local restaurants. So that would be a good chance for folks in the area to kind of hang out with us and, you know, talk shop and just get to meet new folks. It'd be kind of cool.
I'm bringing a hot plate and making ramen in the hotel room.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Real quick before you jump on that, the other brand I was thinking of is Dofiki. That's the one I got for my P2, and they do have a it's 475 by 475, so about 19 3/4 square. It is steel. So that one I don't have this exact one, but I have their version of it for my P2, and I've been very happy for it. And it's only $40 on Amazon. So definitely some good options to look at. But the ones I've linked or mentioned are ones I've actually have some experience with and have been happy with. So
yes. Rob is asking about the XTool Safety Pro AP2. And the answer is, yes, you could use it with the Lasermatic. Now, the hose, there's going to be some adaptations need to be made with the hose because it does have a slightly smaller hose than what comes out of the Lasermatic. But as far as using it with it, you can use it with basically any laser. The only, like I said in my video, the only caveat is going to be the cool part about this machine. One of the cool things is that it's Bluetooth. So whenever the S1 or the F1 Ultra or the P2S, whenever they cut on, they have a port in the back of them where there's a Bluetooth radio that plugs into the machine and connects to the main board. So whenever your machine starts cutting or engraving or whatever, that little dongle sends a Bluetooth trigger to the air filter to cut on and turn the fan on and all that. If you're using it with anything other than an XTool machine, you're not going to have that feature, but it does have manual controls that you can use to turn it up and down and all that kind of stuff. It even has like a timer mode and some other things that you can do using the buttons that are on it, just the physical hard buttons. As far as the fan goes, the fan works basically the same exact way. Look at these cables. They send you plenty of cable with this thing, but it has Velcro. But this is the fan. It does have a little bracket where you can mount it using that. And then it comes with these Velcro IT guy's favorite type of cable binding, so you don't use zip ties. But the cabling is very surprisingly long on this from there to the power supply. This is the power supply for the fan. We'll plug it up. All right, so plug that up, and on here, this is, and it has some screw holes right here where you can mount it. This is the remote for this fan. So you can hit the little plus or minus right here, and it actually works kind of like a leaf blower. You can turn it down. That's like on number 2. You can turn it to number 1, or you turn it all the way up, or you just hit the power button. Once you set what power you want it to be on, like if you turn it on and you set it to, let's say we set it to 2, whenever you power it on, like when you hit the center power button, it's going to default to the last setting. So if you set it on 2, whenever you power it, it's going to go to 2. You know, if you set it to 3, when you power it off, it's going to power off. But then when you power it back on, it's going to come back on 3. So this is actually going to end up getting installed in this enclosure that I have that has the shop vac that, like, hear how loud that is? That enclosure is going to get this guy because matter of fact, before XTool sent me this, I had already ordered and received this. So this is another V-bore, and I was going to install it in this enclosure over here, but then XTool emailed me and said, "Hey, we're sending you this," and so I held off. But this underneath the table, as far as like mounting it under my table, as far as size, I mean, it's a lot different. And I wasn't real sure I was going to like this thing, but the way that these pop out, like these safety grates pop out, the way that it comes apart so you can clean it and everything, it's pretty neat. So, but now, like I said, non-XTool products, you don't get that automatic off and on like you do with XTool. So there we go. I'm gonna turn that off. But I will tell you, if you're playing with that fan, do not get it too close to your shirt because it'll like suck to you like a vacuum cleaner. Like it'll suck the shirt up in there. It's pretty powerful. And I got dust everywhere.
Yeah, I was worried our show was going to have a different rating here if you kept playing with that. So
yeah, you got to be careful. It's dust everywhere. I got dust over here a lot more. Cup done got dust on top of it. But it's actually really, really powerful. Now, I think 4 is just overkill. Like, I feel like I could put 2 or 3 machines on it on the number 4 set. I mean, it's a lot of volume because it's moving the air so fast that I should have went and found my wind gauge, but I don't know exactly where it's at. It's in one of my deployment kits, but I've got a little gauge that'll tell you how fast the wind's blowing and everything. But yeah, it'll get down.
Brian's asking Genmutsu or Fox Alien as first CNC machine to complement the P2 and F1 Ultra. Well, I don't think either of us have direct experience with Fox Alien, so
no,
hard to speak with any like comparative authority on both of them. But both of us have had a few Genmutsu machines, and that 4040 Pro line, especially the newest Max, is pretty nice for a first time CNC machine, and one that we can both recommend because we've used it. Now, our friend James Dean has played with Genmutsu and I believe Fox Alien, and so
I think he has both.
Yeah, he's kind of like where we're a little heavier on lasers. He's a little heavier on CNC machines. So that'd be a good channel to check out to kind of get some information on both. Chances are he's probably played with the exact model. So depending on your budget, they definitely have some, really cheap ones, but some modest ones. As you start getting into that 1,000 on up range, you might start wanting to look at a variety of things on there because you start opening up some more options. But in that sub 1,000 range, both of them are decent from what I understand. But the Genmutsu 4040 Pro Max is kind of where I land on recommendations. So
yeah, like I said, I can't speak anything bad about Fox Alien. I haven't never had one. James would be probably the only guy that I know of that could speak to that. By having both machines. And I just dropped a link to his channel. And feel free to tell him that me and Steve told you to come check him out. But he's got videos, I know, on a lot of the different Fox Alien, Genmutsu, a lot of the entry-level CNCs. He does have some laser stuff too, I believe, but mostly, like Steve said, he's like 90% CNC, 10% laser.
As a matter of fact, now don't leave us now, but he recently posted a review on the 4040 Pro Max, and he has a giveaway going on. I think he's giving away 3 of them in, I think, 3 different regions. So
wow.
I think one's in Europe, one's in US, and one might be more worldwide or such. But go check that out. Again, maybe just drop a line, say, we said hey, and that we should check it out. But you can check out his video on it, and you can enter to win a Genmutsu 4040 Pro Max from him. So
yeah, and also he uses a different software. He's not really big into VCarve.
He's a
Carveco a lot. So when you're comparing the different softwares too, he might be one of those guys that you want to go check some of his content out because he is, like I said, I've never used Carveco, but he's like straight up Carveco guy.
No, it's
More drink.
that one has options to either be subscribed or you can pay for a perpetual license, and it's the perpetual license gets right up there with VCarve. So, Chris is asking, have you ever tried Brilliance laser ink sprayed onto a tumbler or metal with factory coating, colored tumbler that you want a black logo marked onto? I have played with Brilliance marking spray. Works pretty decent. But I have not tried it on like an anodized or a painted tumbler.
Yeah, I think it's mostly made to go directly to the metal. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't tried it on anything but directly on mostly stainless steel. You can get it to work on a few others, but
yeah. Now, Greg, I have experience with Two Trees lasers, but not their CNC. So that's one of the things that I've always wanted to get into, and me and Steve have both talked about that. Genmitsu is basically the only company, and I can tell you about any machine Genmitsu has, SainSmart has. I started out with the 4040, the standard, just the 4040 Pro. I wound up getting the 3030 Pro Ver. Then I went from that to the 6050 Pro Ver. And then they sent me the 4040 Pro Max here about a month or so ago. So I've got plenty of experience with Genmitsu's CNCs, but for some reason, Two Trees, Fox Alien, all these other companies, they send those to other folks. I don't hear from them. I wouldn't mind hearing from them because it does irritate me when I can't really speak to the good and the bad between the different machines. But maybe I'll start getting some more of them. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think I may have heard from someone on Two Trees CNC at one point, but this past year I've been just a little too busy to take on too many of them. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's a balance of wanting to be able to have firsthand experience to be able to help. Either I get a lot of people emailing me or messaging me having some issues, and it's nice to be able to say, okay, hey, look for this part, or yeah, when I put mine together, I did this. But yeah, then
or at least have a video to go back and say, okay, yeah.
But yeah, it does take a bit of time, and I also don't want to be just a review channel.
Oh so. Yeah, I know. We've both been trying to step away from that a little bit here lately.
Yeah.
Sharon, I don't know which fan you're talking about. Are you talking about this fan particular, or are you talking about the new XTool fan? Both of them come apart to an extent, but the XTool, I think the XTool fan, I haven't taken that one apart yet, but I think it actually breaks down further than most of your traditional fans will. What's up? What's up, Rick? Yeah, I keep hearing you say you're going to put it together, but he just never does. Never does.
Now the one it's a little bit more than the ones people have been mentioning, but the one that really interests me right now for like a benchtop desktop style is that Nemo Labs that friend Dave Gatton has been playing with. I feel like they're hitting a sweet spot of features and rigidity, and their offline controller looks very cool. And so,
well, if you remember last year, I think it was, they reached out to me. They had one. It was very, very similar to like the 6050. And they asked if I'd be interested in it. I responded, and then it was just crickets. So yeah. But that's one that I like the way they're building theirs out. Also, so it'd be interesting. Super Duty, no, it's not, sir. It's apple juice. I'm not on my muscle relaxers anymore, so I can actually drink things that I could not when I'm just taking muscle relaxers.
Oh yeah, try to get caught up here on comments. So if we've missed yours, go ahead.
What did I say? Oh, there it is. Well, hello, Dave. How are you, sir? Because I know I saw Dave Gatton stick his head in here a minute ago, but we were talking to somebody at the time.
Yeah.
There you go. There's one for you.
For me,
I mean, the We Create machines. I've had the 20 watt and I've had the 40 watt. If you've never had a laser, you're not a fanatic about Lightburn, and you're just wanting to get into it and download things and burn them, it's okay. Now, me personally, I like to use Lightburn, the 40 watt, and since the update, supposedly the 20 watt, I haven't confirmed that, you can use Lightburn, which makes it better, in my opinion. But it's still going to be, it's still a diode laser. One of the big negatives that I'm aware of, and is that if you go to clean it, it's an undertaking to clean it. And I think Steve can elaborate more on that. But that's the biggest complaint that I personally know of with either machine is servicing it and keeping it clean is going to be challenging. So what's your thoughts, Steve?
Well, yeah, it's like you said, if you have no experience with any other machine or software, it's good as first getting into it. As someone who's worked with lasers for 9+ years now, I got frustrated with it at the first. I did get it to work out okay, and they've made some improvements since then. But there's a lot of things about that machine that are very integrated to itself, and if they don't work, there's not like workarounds for it. And so, the whole half the frame lifts and lowers to focus and change, things. And when that's, it's all relying on that camera. There's no real good manual override. You can kind of get it to fake it by say, okay, well, here's the measurement of the item and such. And that's kind of true of a lot of machines, is that when they have this tool that's supposed to make it easier, but it doesn't work, it's a real pain. It's a heavy laser. And so, yeah, when you want to clean it, you kind of have to tip it on end to get at the module. It's really not something you're going to pull that module off very easily. And so the recommendation is slide the crumb tray out, tip it on end, get on there and clean it. And so for some people, that's going to be a hindrance for that.
Especially depending on where you have it like placed. If you don't have the room to flip it over on its side and stuff.
It has an integrated fan and I think a 3-inch port on it. Some people have worked to remove that, but that I don't know that you get into soldering, but you got to like physically disconnect that fan from the motherboard, which means taking the machine part off. So it's if you're using it standalone and it's your first laser and you want to use their software, yeah, it works pretty well. But if you've got some experience with other things, it does tend to get a little frustrating at times. That being said, they are investing in the software. They've made lots of updates. They've improved its Lightburn compatibility greatly from when we were playing with it. And I still have mine, and I do want to pull it out and update it and check that out so I can better speak to that. It's just I haven't had time for that.
Yes.
One of the biggest disappointments, though, I think was Clack had like the pre-release version of it. I had one after release, and in that time frame, they took their software from allowing bidirectional engraving to just unidirectional. Now you can enable that in Lightburn, but it hits a point where it starts losing steps and starts skewing things. So to me, that says there is something in the hardware or the firmware that it can't keep up with that. And so it automatically makes it half as fast as any other laser at engraving.
Yeah, and that was one of the problems that I had, because it would only engrave with their software unidirectional, meaning it would only like on its way to the right, it engraves, and then it dry runs back to the left. Engraves, not engrave, engraves. Whereas all the other machines are engraving continuously, and it does make the jobs take a lot longer. But like I said, the 40 watt, when I got it, I ran it on Lightburn, and it ran really well. I did have to engineer myself a way to get the camera to work and not use their camera, because at the time they didn't have it to where you could use their camera in Lightburn. I don't know if they've changed that yet or not, but my machine that I have, which is currently at Klein's house, has a camera built in it for their software, and then it has the camera that I added for Lightburn. So, and it works. He's been playing around with it and using it up there because I don't use them like daily. So if I give them to people that can use them, at least that way I know how they hold up long term, because at least the machine is seeing some use. Because let's face it, I can't run all these machines myself.
Yeah.
So I have to have my test drivers.
So yeah, I mean, right now their price for the 20 watt looks to be $1,200. If you're wanting a machine of that size and some of those features, I would spend the extra $100 and get the Lasermatic 20 watt, the MK2. Or if you don't need the rotary, spend less, $1,100, get the Lasermatic without the rotary, and I feel you'd have a much better machine.
Yeah.
In that price range.
Yeah.
It's just going to work better. It's going to work faster. Yeah. If that's where you're at in that price range, that's kind of my recommendation around there. There are other enclosed machines like it coming out, and there are other options out there, of course. But in that specific price range for the features that you get, that would be my recommendation, I think.
Yeah. Dina is saying having a heck of a time with tumblers. Designs are backwards on one, and one time they are not. And yes, I use a jig to hold my chucks still, no matter which machine I'm running. But I will tell you this: if your design was backwards one time and then the other time it wasn't, there's a good chance that you oriented your chuck one way or the other. Because depending on which chuck you're using, it has to be setting typically with the claw on the left for the Atom Stack machines and the claw on the right for XTools. I think I got that right. Yeah, pretty sure I got that right because the XTools go to the
left. That sounds right.
And then Adams, yeah. So they're the XTool ones are backwards from what you would think if you're used to using the Atom Stacks. But so if you'll put something on there, a text or something that you can tell if it's reversed or not. If it's backwards, flip it the other way. But the easy cheat is normally when they make them, if you look at it and you're standing behind the machine, if the text is upside down, so is the chuck. Because typically speaking, they make it to where when it's sitting there, you can see it. Case in point, this nice little Atom Stack machine. Yes, that does not come factory. I put that on there. That's 160 millimeters per rotation. But with this one, you're going to want the Atom Stack where you can read it. With the XTool one, it's like I said, it turns this way. And don't ask me why they did that. You would think they would all make them the same direction, but they don't. So, but yeah, this is my favorite chuck, by the way. Grab the. And as you can see with the XTool, the text, you want the text up. So that's going to put, with the text upright, that's going to put the claw on the right instead of the left. So there you go.
North Alabama is saying they're looking at extending the D1 Pro, need an enclosure. Wondering about the plans for EnclosureZilla.
I have them on my website. It's not the exact plans, but it's pretty close. But if you use my design, you don't have to have the legs. My Honeycomb goes up and down. So I have 12 inches of adjustment using a switch. Hang on, let me go over here. So as you can see there, that is with my honeycomb lowered all the way down. So with my enclosure, I don't have to put legs on or take legs off my machine. My machine is stationary. It actually has a jig kit that holds it fixed. So even if I grab my machine and try to move it, whichever way, it's not going to move because it is basically part of the enclosure. And so is the honeycomb. The honeycomb is bolted to the elevator in the bottom, so it can't move. So all of my stuff is indexed in one piece. But if I want to, if I'm doing something tall, I can lower it like that to do tall stuff. And if I'm doing something that's not tall, I put it in that mode. So that is why y'all see me using this machine all the time. And that's why it's because I don't have to worry about putting legs on it. If I'm doing tumblers, I can go from doing tumblers to doing plywood to doing ammo cans to doing jewelry boxes. And I never have to move my machine. You start moving machines around and picking them up, putting legs on them, picking them up, putting them back down. You're asking to break wiring or drop something or twist the gantry out of square, or it's just, I like leaving my machine sitting still. Same thing with lightsaber over here. Oh, that camera's not coming on for some reason. But over here in my A70 Pro, same situation. Only difference is the bed does not come up and down. I only have that capability in my largest enclosure.
All right. We are halfway through our show tonight.
You want to do it now?
Sounds like a good time to let the cat out of the bag about what our 100th episode giveaway is going to be. And so, if you've noticed in our titles, you've been adding the episode number for the past couple months anyway. And you went back and added them to all yours. I've been lazy. Haven't done that much. But this is episode 99 weeks in a row that we've done this. Sometimes with me in chat or sometimes with both of us with sketchy internet. But we've made it 99 weeks in a row. And
perfect attendance.
Don't plan on stopping, but we thought, hey, our 100th episode is coming up here next week, November 3rd. And wanted to see what we could do to thank you all for making this fun, continue to help grow it. And so worked out a deal. And our friends over at Atom Stack have stepped up, and they are providing us with a laser to give away. And that laser is actually going to be the A40 Pro V2. This is no slouch of laser. Now, neither of us have actually tested this specific one, but
technically, if you take the X40 and the A70 and combine them,
it's still a little bit different than that. But it's very similar. It's got a lot of the same features as the 70-watt lasers we've been looking at. It has the autofocus. It's got the linear rails. It's got the cable chain. But it's a little bit smaller. It's a 400 by 400 or 385 by 400. Hey, it's very cool. $1,000 laser. It's a 48, but it's got the switchable down to 24. Pretty cool machine, and we've been fairly happy with Atom Stack as one of the partners. So they are offering up an Atom Stack laser that we will be giving away next week during the live stream. And so the way we're doing this is you're going to have to be here for it, because we want to make sure that if people enter that they're there, we can get the name in and such. We'll be drawing. You can be at any of our channels, Facebook, YouTube, and whatnot. We'll drop in a code for you to enter. Everybody will get one shot at it, but you got to be here. You got to be present. You got to be present to claim it. So we're pretty pumped to be able to do that and offer this up to everybody. And this is kind of a primer for the holiday season. We're planning to do some more giveaways and gifting throughout the holiday season this year. So, but we thought we'd kick it off here beginning of November with our 100th episode. So, be here, be present. We'll probably do a similar to this, where we're going to do it, midpoint somewhere, just so that we know it gets a little late for some people. But yeah, looking forward to that, and excited that we have Adam Stack stepping up and partnering with us on that. So
yeah, it's like I said, it's from what I can see of the machine, it's a good machine. And me and Steve both have a lot of experience with Adam Stack and their equipment. The machine frame itself closely resembles the module, and everything closely resembles the X40 with the linear rails on it. But they have added the autofocus, which is comparable to, say, the A70. So this is an interesting machine. It's a 40 watt, so I would expect the cutting ability to be right there with my X40, because I swear that is the X40 module. It looks just like mine.
It's actually a 48 watt switchable to 24. So
yeah, I think that's what my X is too. 24 and 48. Yeah. Yeah, the module is, like, seriously, it is almost identical. The only difference between mine and this one, the controller on that one is a little bigger, probably because they added the autofocus and stuff to it. And it's not as wide. This one already has the drag chains and everything on it, which is something that Adam Stack has started doing that I love, is they've started putting drag chains on all the machines, which is big for me because I'm OCD about my cable management. So, and of course, that machine works with the R1 chuck, which is my favorite chuck ever.
mm-hmm.
I've yet to see. I'm thinking what they're going to do with the Hurricane is adapt the R1 to the Hurricane. I don't see why they need to reinvent the chuck. I haven't heard from them on that yet, but I have been anxiously awaiting to see what they do if they come out with like a R2 or something. I'm hoping maybe they do that. Maybe they improve upon the R1. But the Adam Stack chuck is by far, in my opinion, the nicest chuck on the market as far as size and just capabilities.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that next week, and we'll be posting some information here, reminding people throughout the week. So try to make sure you can be around for that if that's something you want to win. But like I said, if you can't make it next week, we'll continue to do some more things. We've been really grateful for everybody supporting both of our channels, and so we're looking to give back this holiday season.
Yeah. Oh, y'all not going to want to miss the Christmas bash. We're already working for the Christmas bash, working with a couple of different companies. Plus, we're going to be doing our own stuff. Like, y'all remember last year, I was doing the gift card giveaways and the Amazon purchases and stuff like that. So we're going to make this Christmas, we're going to make it a nice one. It's going to be a good Christmas. You're going to want to be here. So the 100th anniversary, you're going to want to be here for that one too. Because like I said, $1,000 machine, that's nothing to sneeze at. If you win that, I mean, that would be a game changer, especially for some of these guys that are maybe still using like an older machine. That's the kind of the people that I would like to see get it, would be the ones that are like, man, I've been really wanting a machine, but just can't pull the trigger. That's who I'm hoping for. So if that's you, I'm rooting for you. Come join in. Got to be present to win, guys. And like I said, Adam Stack, we do want to say thanks to Adam Stack for not only for partnering with us for this, but I mean, y'all know that right now in my shop, every machine on this wall here in front of me. So let me see here. Like, well, I've got that pointed the wrong direction. Anyway, I've got my X40 over here, my A70 here, and now the Hurricane down there. So between Adam Stack, I see right now I'm running Adam Stacks, the MK2, the Monport fiber, of course, and then the XTools. So Adam Stack and XTool, right now, currently Adam Stack outnumbers the XTools in operation. but I still got my P2 over there as my backup just in case something happens to the hurricane. But yeah, we do appreciate them for sure.
Yes. So, and they did send along a coupon code. I've mentioned it in the past with that. So that is already active. It's been Vintari 10. If you're shopping on adamstack.com and going to buy something, drop that in there, and it should hopefully save you another 10% on whatever you're buying. So it was nice for them to send that along as well. Hopefully it's still working. I know a few people used it. I've kind of spot checked it on shopping carts just to make sure. So go ahead and use that as well if you're shopping with them.
You got any ideas on that? Is Lightburn, did they fix the P2 with Lightburn completely?
I'll be honest, I have not tried recently.
Yeah, that's
what
me
I
too.
do is I'll still use, I might design in Lightburn and just export the SVG, drop it into XCS, and set up the cut operations there. They've been adding most of the features that are needed in XCS for basic cutting operations. I still prefer Lightburn and other tools for designing, although I'm forcing myself to do more in XCS to get used to it and be able to help people out that are only using that. But I have not tried using Lightburn with the P2 in quite a while.
I'm going to have everything pulled over here. Fred's asking third-party dust boot for the Genmitsu 4040 Pro Max, longer than the Genmitsu accessories. And who is the CNC bit company that we always mention? The CNC bit company that we always mention is going to be Cody over at the Genie Bits, Cadence Manufacturing. As far as dust boots goes, if you're getting the spindle, the trim router for the 4040 Pro, this is what I ran, and it worked great. And this is actually a dust boot from Carbide 3D that they make for the Shapeoko if you're using a trim router. I don't have a trim router, so I don't use it. It comes with both the clear, just a little pocket thing here, as well as the brush. This is the one I used in my videos, and it stays here in the shop because it goes with my Shapeoko, but any machine that I get in that has a 65 millimeter spindle or the trim router, this is the one I'm going to use. I do, if you go to matter of fact, let me pull it up here. But that's the one that I used, and it worked great for me. If you watch my videos, you can see how well it worked. And I don't know, which one did you use, Steve, or did you even use the dust boot?
On my 4040 Pro, I'm using the default one or the stock one from Genmitsu. I'd actually originally picked it up to try it on the 6050, but then got it fitted for the 4040 Pro Max. It is a little short in some cases, which isn't always bad. Having a little bit of a gap helps with a little bit of airflow there, but in some areas it's a bit extreme.
Yeah. Let me get let me get a link to this one that I'm using to make sure I know which one it is. But yeah, this one works great for me. So let's see.
Otherwise, I haven't tried them personally, but I know a lot of people have liked the PWN or Pone CNC dust boots. They have a different variety. You just want to make sure you get one for a 65 millimeter boot or a spindle. And I was trying to think, there's another one that was actually made for the Onefinity. That's an aftermarket.
Yeah, well, this one, like I said, this is the one that I've been using on the Genmitsu, and it works pretty well. It's called, and I put a link down below, but it's called the Sweepy 2.0. It connects to the router and not the machine, so it would work with any CNC that you may have that would use a trim router. And it does come with that little adapter there for the different sizes hoses and stuff. So it's pretty handy. And like I said, it's $55 ordering it directly from Carbide. And like I said, it comes with both the brushes as well as just the regular little clear, you can see through it type. And it comes with these adapters for, like, say, a shop vac or a 3-inch dust collection hose. So it's pretty versatile when it comes to that. And you can also, if you have like a DeWalt router, you can order it in a 69 millimeter, 65 millimeter, or even an 80 millimeter spindle through Carbide. So that's, like I said, this is my little go-to testing dust boot, because when Billy went to take the machine to his house, I made him take this off before he took it, and I gave him the link to where he could buy his own, because this thing is awesome. I tried all the Genmitsu ones, none of them worked as good as this thing does. So
especially when they're attached to the spindle. When you find a good one, you kind of hang on to it, because it's, a 65 millimeter spindle is pretty common on a lot of these hobby CNCs, whether it's a trim router or the lower level water cooled or air cooled spindles. So now it is nice to get one that actually attaches to the gantry and then floats. The spindle move up and down through it.
Yeah, you like that one?
But that tends to be a little more specialized per machine, because it has to have an attachment point on the Z-axis or on the gantry. So
yeah, that's what I'm running. I'm running a Sweepy Pro on the Shipoko. It actually attaches to the gantry, and so the spindle just protrudes up and down. That's really handy when you're using such things as like a bowl bit or the extended reach genie or something, because the spindle, it doesn't really matter where it's located. You just adjust the broom to the top of the material. So that's the one that I run on that's the reason I have the Sweepy 2.0, is because the Sweepy 2.0 was the one that shipped with the machine, and I ordered the Sweepy Pro for my Shipoko 5 as an add-on. It would have been nice, I guess, if I'd have known, if I could have just like swapped it out and paid the difference. But hindsight, I'm glad I've got the 2.0, because now I can use it with these other machines as well.
So, but yeah, dust boots can be a bit personal preference. So look around at them. If you haven't used one before, I would take some recommendations from people, but maybe not invest heavily in one until you play around with it and see what you like or dislike about some of them. Because some people will tell you, dust boot A is the best thing. You should never need anything else. And then other people will tell you it's a horrible thing. I hate it and never use it. So they can be a little bit. It also depends also on your dust collection device, whether you've got it on an actual dust collector, 4-inch hose, or you're using a shop vac and such. That will change how each individual dust boot works. Yeah,
and little thing that I had to learn is when you're CNCing, you don't want you don't want this. You don't want that. If your bristles are moving when your CNC moves, you're too close to the material. You kind of want it up here somewhere, because when you allow that flow of air to go through there and to circulate, it's going to pick up a lot more chips than it does if it's stuck to it. Because if it's stuck to it, it's just going to make your vacuum or your dust collector work overtime trying to pull, because it's building up vacuum, and it's even going to start pulling these little bristles into the spindle if they're long enough. That's the problem I have with a lot of the Genmitsu products that I use, is because they weren't very big around and the bristles would get pulled into the spindle. But you want to leave a little bit of a gap. I would recommend at least 1/8 of an inch, if not 1/4 of an inch, depending on what you're using, between the bristles and the material surface. So you'll thank me for that one. If you're doing it different than that, try that and you'll thank me for it. Because like using the Shopsmith over there, that thing just like it picks up all the chips almost, except for what's in the cut that won't come out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, that I was just unloading the van. I spent a good part of yesterday out at the flying field We're having some unseasonably warm weather here in the Midwest, upper Midwest. So my buddy and I wanted to take advantage of that, but had to bring some things back. And so as Clack was joining, I'm schlepping things in and out the garage, unloading my van. So that's just sitting on the work or the table saw right now. Better remove it before I turn that thing on. But
Norbert, I'm not necessarily, if you're talking about like putting out lists or anything, I don't necessarily have anything out for Black Friday. If I see anything that's really awesome, I'll let you guys know. But as always, anytime you're shopping on Amazon, if you just feeling like you want to help support us, go to either Steve or my websites. Like you can go to my website and go to Shop with Clack, and it'll bring up all of my affiliate accounts, whether it be with Carbide, Adam Stack, XTool, Amazon, or whatever, and click through there before you make your order, and that'll give me credit for the purchase and get my affiliate commission off of it. And Steve pretty much does the same thing. Most of yours are on your YouTube channel, Facebook page, or where you got your links. Did you redo? You were going to redo your website. Did you get that done?
I do have if you go to my website, vintari.com, I do have a shopping page where I have links to a lot of the companies I work with, as well as the top one is my Amazon shop. And I've been trying to actually, even earlier today, I was going through and clearing out some of the older machines from my Amazon list, trying to make it a little easier to use. So those are there. As far as Black Friday specials, I do, I try to not be too salesy with everybody, but when I see things on Prime Days or Black Friday sales, especially like, hey, here are, business card blanks at a good price, things you might want to stock up on.
Yeah, you got me with your Amazon buys, by the way.
Yeah. I try to share those out just so that, like, hey, here's some ways to save money. So I try to put a list out, usually through my Facebook page, sometimes through a YouTube community post as well, to give people a heads up, like, hey, you might want to, here's some deals you might want to look in. But I don't want to spam people with it. I don't ever like do a video like, here's the big Prime Day deals or Black Friday deals for the year. So, but we do try to share. I do try to share out, if I feel they're good stuff. So I will try to keep a lookout and share that. Maybe through the Facebook community page as well, our laser graving community. Again, we try not to be too pushy on those, or we don't allow people to share a lot of links in there that aren't, they're too pushy and salesy. But usually about that time of year, we might try to compile them into one thread or something like that.
Yeah. I don't like to pursue the salesy stuff, but I do. Like I said, if anybody asks, you can, like I said, you can support by doing that. That's great, and it's appreciated. Somebody is asking, Gerald Grady is asking, is it hard to open an STL in Bamboo Studios? And my answer to you would be no, it is not. And we're going to go over that just real quick. So all you've really got to do is create new project. All right, here we are in Bamboo Studio. Add the model. I'm going to go over here to my Clack Shack folders, 3D printing files, Clack Shack created. And let's say we'll do Adam Stack Hurricane T bracket version 2. It's going to open that. That was an STL, and you'll notice that by right here where it says object name, Adam Stack Hurricane Jig T bracket version 2 STL. That is the file. It's added to the workspace. This little button right here is your friend, because this is going to automatically orient it in the best way possible to print it without supports and hangover and all that. Once you do that, it's on the workspace. Next step, slice. It's going to slice it. It's going to give you a rough estimate of how long it's going to take for it to print. Next step, you hit print. On this step, basically, if you have the AMS, all you have to do is select the color filament that you want to use. Of course, for this, I would use my orange, and then hit send, which I'm not going to do because I've got plenty of those printed already. But once you hit that send button, you're pretty much done with the software aspect of things. After that, it is simply going to print. And you can see right here, that was the last thing I actually printed, was one of these brackets. So it's pretty neat. Not a lot of effort goes into printing with the Bamboo Labs. So there you go. It's that easy. My opinion, personally, I prefer everything being an STL file for 3D printing, but it's mostly because I use STLs for 3D printing, CNC, the whole 9 yards. And so that's pretty much it. Did you see anything I did wrong with that, Steve?
Nope. Looks good. Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about their software is it's they've made it pretty easy. Whether you want to just grab something from their Maker World sharing site or drop in a downloaded file or something you made. Like you said, it's got tools to say, hey, this is the best way to orient it. It'll actually throw up any errors saying this structure, it's like, this is a hollow STL. Would you like us to fix it? Things like that. So,
or you got too much hangover, not enough supports.
Yeah. So, I mean, adding in supports, there's some options for that where you might need to go into the support tab and make sure that's enabled and such. But it is very intuitive and fairly simple. So, and my 3D print for the day is this.
Yep, made you a fiber cone, had you? There you go.
So this one specifically, and that's to use. Speaking of things, but that's to use the old school XTool fume extractor. It works well. It works well for particulate, and so I have it set up over here. And this is a shroud that then it has the 2 little bolt holes that line up on the grid for the fiber laser. And so this will be good for longer runs of like, the deeper engraved type stuff. Yeah, well, but I wanted to use the XTool one, so I needed the 3, this weird smaller size. Ideally, you'd use a 4-inch one and get more airflow going, but wanting to try out this.
That's a pretty cool print. Did you build that or did you just go ahead and snag it?
No, I found it and scaled it. So, and that's
cool.
Why recreate with wheel when someone had?
Oh yeah, especially because it saves you. It's a time saver really because they've already got it worked out. But yeah, that's the. I've got another exhaust collector, like I said, that I just showed y'all that I'm checking out, and it is very similar to the XTool first one. Now I will say that this one's not getting any standing ovations right now, but it does okay. But it can't keep up with my productivity. This is the Atom Stacks version that goes with the Hurricane, but I think I stopped it up already. I read it too much. I read it one good sure enough high productivity weekend, and it's starting to be less effective. So
yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, at least it's that first filter that you can maybe grab a couple cheap and get you going again. But and that's what is nice about XTool's new one is with that cyclone separator top unit. That's going to take a lot of that heavy particulate out of play, and then you can rinse it out. Get the
I found that I didn't want to rinse it because I didn't want to get it wet, but I found that the air using the air hose and just blowing that thing out with the air hose was really effective. Matter of fact,
I mean it's really no different than emptying your cyclone on a. I've got one sitting back there. It's just separating them out that way. But XTool, I mean, they recommend just rinsing it out. So
yeah, see, that's what mine looked like after this past week of really using it. That's what it looked like. And so I just took the air hose and knocked all that stuff off of it. It came right off. Now, if it was a material that had a lot of sap or something like that, it might have required some, soap and water. But it come off of there pretty easy. But that was today. I meant to include some of that footage in the video, but somebody forgot.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
I forgot I had it. The clips got away from me.
Yeah, Cody, the Nighthawk, the Swinger I haven't tried, but that one is from what is it, Rowdy Roman. I've looked at that one, but the Nighthawk is one that I've been thinking about getting for my Onefinity, and or trying out the Swinger. So those are ones that work with 65 millimeter options, and they are well appreciated by the community. So
David's asking, when a dust boot attaches to the spindle, isn't there a possibility of breaking it on deep pockets? Yes, you can have some issues if you try to set it. If it attaches to the spindle, you kind of have to know what you're doing to set it as far as your depth of cut and everything. But with a lot of these hobby CNCs, like the Genmitsu and some of the other ones, they don't really make other options unless you can design it yourself that I'm aware of. I looked for one for the 4040. I couldn't find one. And a lot of times, if you do find one, another problem that you're going to run into is, in order for that dust boot to go underneath the gantry, it's going to reduce the depth of cut of the gantry, because now instead of holding a 2.5 inch tall piece of material, you can only put an 1.5 inch tall piece of material under there. So there's a lot of, just like even with my Shipoko, it reduces the thickness of material that I can use on my CNC by having the dust boot go under there like that. The only workaround for that would be to have it to where it goes around the front of the spindle instead of underneath the back. And there are some out there on the market, but there's a lot goes into it. But as far as a universal one size fits all, that Sweepy 2.0 has been doing me a really good job. So what you got? I know I saw you reach for something.
No, I was just trying to look for something, but
So what's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, in theory, yes. Generally, you're going to have at least 1 inch bristles on there, possibly longer. And so those are going to compress a bit before anything seriously jams in there. And you also have to factor in how far your machine can actually mill. And that's why when you get into a lot of the larger CNCs, you're not going to have a spindle mounted dust boot. They're going to be on the gantry. You're going to adjust that to the just above the surface of your material, and it's going to lower down in that because those are the ones that can really do the deeper carves. With a lot of these, while they might have that travel, you're still talking about how far down can that spindle and that frame handle an extended reach bit, and you get more over an inch and a quarter, and you're getting into a little sketchy territory with some of these smaller machines. So
it starts putting a lot more pressure as far as like twist and torsion pressure on the gantry and stuff.
No. But yeah, it is definitely a possibility, and that's one of the things too. Much like with my laser, I don't have an auto home. If you I've had it with luckily on the Onefinity, it's attached to the actual the Z-axis separate from the spindle. But if you have that down too low from a job, like if you were cutting out 1/4 inch material, and then you go to surface a 2 inch slab, it could be down low enough. Now the boot itself is magnetically held in and might pop out of the way, but the arms themselves tend to be a little fragile, and people slam them into things and break them. So that's why a lot of people swap that out relatively quickly. So it is, if you don't slam your CNC into something, whether it's a bit into a clamp, a dust boot into a piece of material or whatnot, you're either really lucky or you haven't gone through the painful learning lessons that everybody else has. So,
or you're trying to fast travel across the workspace and you don't realize that your Z's not up high enough to miss the material.
Yeah,
and it crashes into it.
It's going to happen, and you're going to learn a lesson. And it's just going to depend on how expensive it is. So,
yes, some lessons are $20 and some are more.
Yeah. John's asking for the XTool F1 Ultra fiber 20 watt. Is there one pair of safety glasses that covers both, or needs separate glasses depending on which lasers you're using? Yeah, there is the Free Mascot has a set that is covers, what is it, from, I just put the link out there. It's from 190 to 550 nanometers, as well as 800 to 1100. So that covers both the blue diode as well as the fiber. That's on the F1.
It's stamped in that top left lens right there.
Yeah. So I put a link out there. They have a few different styles. Style 5 or 6 do work, or no, not style 6. Style 5 work over some prescription glasses, similar to mine. They even have a full goggle set that I think would possibly work over some prescription glasses. Otherwise, if you've had LASIK or you don't have corrective vision, they've got some other styles that might wrap a little tighter. But yeah, that series that's in that link will get you covered on both of them. Now, it's not going to cover you for CO2. That's a whole nother wavelength. But for the blue diode and the fiber, it will.
All right. Fred's asking, what method do you guys recommend to hold down material on CNC bed? Clamps, only tape, CA glue, ? And my answer is it depends. But sometimes one or two of the below, and sometimes all of them. Because there are those times where you're like, this could possibly come loose. But I will tell you, it is better to have too much hold down than not enough. So
yeah, you got to look at it. Depends on what type of job you're doing, because with the CNC there's not only up and down loads from the bit, possibly pushing or pulling on it depending on its orientation and fluting pattern, or possibly both if it's a compression. But you also have the side to side loads from cutting and or engraving or carving. So, and then you got to look at, are you doing through paths, and are you going to be using tabs or not? So a lot of times I'll use the tape and CA method for simple jobs and just go with that. However, that doesn't always, the side loading on that can break free. So that's where having, sometimes I'll have a corner block and then I'll have cam locks that will push in on it, or I'll have clamps that push down on it. Yeah, there's a few different styles. And sometimes you will say, you know what, I'm using wood screws down into the spoil board through the material, just because we're cutting something out and I don't want it to move at all. So, but a lot of it is tape and CA. Although you can also find, so this is a light duty double-sided tape. The woodworking stuff is nice, but it's almost too hard. This is just like a light duty carpet tape. And so it's double-sided, and you can use that in place of it. Now this will also give away if you get too many courses, or if it's not really super smooth. I have that stuff as well that Clack's showing, but that is really gummy and really sticky. So it holds better, but it can also be a little more of a pain if your tooling goes into it too much. It can start gumming up a little bit.
It doesn't gum. I have found, because used to, when I had the bad gumming problems, I was using a upcut bit. But if you use a Genie bit, the compression bits, I haven't had as bad of a problem of it picking this stuff up. It seems to almost, because of the depth that I'm going into it, it almost seems to push it away from the bit. This stuff doesn't seem to stick to my bit as bad.
The compression bit would still pull that bottom part.
It doesn't pull it, but it doesn't pull it as like the old upcuts did. But I have gotten better, and I don't usually cut into this stuff as much.
Yeah.
The compression bit, the one thing about the compression I think makes it better is the compression part, the downcut part of the compression bit pushes sawdust up against the sticky surface before the actual bit touches it. And so it doesn't stick to the Genie bits as bad as it did the upcuts. Don't make me explain it. I'd have to do a video side-by-side comparison to show you. But I think it could possibly be that compression bit is pushing sawdust into the glue and the sticky part and kind of coating it so it's not as sticky. But it doesn't get on the bits nearly as bad unless you really dig into it. But this is another. See, mine has T-tracks in it, because with the Onefinity, you can screw through the top of the spoil board with no problems. But with the Shapeoko, there actually are metal trays underneath my spoil board, so I can't go but so deep. But I do have T-tracks, and so I can use these little guys here. And also, I made this the other day. I'm gonna do a video on this, but I made this the other day because when I'm batching out stuff, I like to be able to set my zero and just leave it. And so this is kind of my batch out little clamp. And then I have this guy from Rocker, which is awesome, by the way, Steve. You should try one of these. It connects to the T-track using this, and then it's just like an automatic like clamp lock. And so this, if you're using tape, you can use tape and this, and it helps drastically reduce the amount of like Steve saying, the side to side pressure. So it lets that tape hold a little better. Yeah, I saw some of those. I started to order me a couple of those. I didn't know how they worked. I had to get your review on those.
These have limited throw. I don't like them as much.
See, I like this one because it's like really adjustable.
Yeah. Well, so I have these. They're cut out, and the nice thing is that you have some adjustability. So I've got a lot of 1/4-20 threaded inserts into my spoil board, and then I can also use just a straight one if I need to extend it further, and that kind of gives you a 2-line reference. And then you cut out these cam things. Also, they go into the threaded inserts, and then they just kind of push in as it rotates around. Also have some smaller ones. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can make with your CNC machine to be hold downs. And the nice thing about these is being 3/4 inch in plywood, and those heads are recessed quite well. If I run into this, it's not a big deal. I can cut another one, and it's not going to damage it. Whereas if this, which is a clamp that would hold it down, this sticks up really high. This is aluminum, and while the bit will go through it, you're going to cause some problems. And I just like not having a whole lot of things sticking up. So that's where, the shallower clamps like these 3D printed ones are nice. And that's, so I've got the flattened spoil board of the MDF that I can tape down to. It also has a pattern of threaded inserts into it, and then it also has a series of T-track. The T-track is probably what I use the least. The threaded inserts the second, but the tape or the double-sided, the CA and the tape or the double-sided tape is probably what is kind of my go-to for just the quick things. So,
yeah, like I said, with this thing, I liked it because I can actually have a standoff, and I can push this out as far as I need to, and also the way that the top is made. I've been using it like coming in from the corner, and so that allows me to, especially if I'm doing like a real thick piece of material, I can put that coming in from the corner and pushing it into this corner bracket right here, which I did a little short on this the other day. This is actually plastic. That place in town that I found. This is some of their scrap they throw away, and I CNC'd it into my own little plastic corner bracket. So it doesn't give as much as the wooden stuff did. So it works pretty well.
All right.
Put this over here. All right. I gotta walk to the door for a second.
Roe Hodderson asking about, we both worked with the 40-watt Monport. They're now releasing the Reno 45 Pro and Onyx 55 watt. Have you had any experience or feedback on these? The Reno 45 is 12x16. No, I have not. Monport's one of those companies that will randomly reach out, and then they tend to put a lot of requirements on creators that some of them are deal breakers for us. So I haven't looked at some of their new machines. Just looking at the Reno 45 on their site, that they actually have it on sale right now for $9.99, so it's even less than their street price. 16x12 is okay. It's a little bit smaller than others. It's even the Atom Stack isn't that 18. What did we say? It was a little bit smaller.
It's like 19 and a half by 11.8.
Yeah. So it's getting a little, the working area, it's hard to, bigger is better to a point. So, but it does, it definitely looks like a real decent step up from their old 40 watt. It has a lot of the features that you'd probably want in it. And, getting into a CO2 laser for under $1,000, outside of the K40 or their M40 line, it's been hard. So at that sub $1,000 price might be something to look at. But I would definitely want to see what a few people have to say about it. Looks like it's got a 4 inches of adjustable Z height in the bed. Can't tell. It might just be a manual screw driven.
Well, see, they just came out with that Onyx too, so
yeah,
they're dropping them out pretty quick.
Yeah, they mentioned the Onyx 55, but I mean, as far as a a sub $1,000 or right at $1,000 price.
I do have a question. Exactly what is semi-automatic focus?
It's one focus per pull.
I mean, is that? I don't. Looks like it's got a plunger on the head. I see it. I see it on one of their pictures. It looks like it's got a touch-off sensor on it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it says.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind the
comparable to autofocus. I don't know. Curious.
Yeah, but no, like I said, Monport, and you're absolutely correct about Monport. This machine right here that I've got, the GA30 or whatever it is. I think it's a GA30. Yes, I think it's GA30. They sent me a ridiculous contract and was like, hey, if you'll sign this, we'll send it to you. And I sent it back to them, and I'm like, no. But I went in and edited it and took a bunch of their stuff out of it, basically left it to where it said they'll give me the machine, and in return, I'll do, X number of videos and send it back to them, because there was a lot of stuff in there that I didn't agree to, and it wasn't worth it because I don't, like I said, me and Steve have our standards, and there are some things that we just won't do. We understand that they want to keep stuff secret, and what do they call it? No corporate espionage and stuff like that. So sometimes the NDAs are something that are understandable, but they get a little carried away. And Monport can be really heavy on that kind of stuff. Really, to be honest, I guess they're probably, I don't know. Adam Stack can be, since since they've redone everything, they're starting to get a little more contract heavy, but they've been really open also to adjustments to their stuff, because some of the stuff I'll tell them, hey, look, I can't say I'm going to do this or do that. And so far, both companies have been open to my amendments I've made to their paperwork. So.
Yeah, I think most of them have. There's a few sticking points that I push back on, and it sometimes means a deal doesn't happen, but it's part of. A lot of them have just to do with me maintaining my objectivity. That if they want to review everything and make changes to what I've done in my video, well, I usually throw it back to them and say, okay, well, this isn't a review. This is a sponsored ad, and it's very expensive. Yeah. Because I don't do them.
Oh yeah. Now, if they want to give me like, I don't know, $250,000, I'll say pretty much whatever they want me to. We'll just put a disclaimer that they paid me to say it.
They better pay me enough that I don't have to ever work again. So yeah, I don't think any of them have those budgets.
No, they're not. There's no danger of that happening. But no, Michael, I don't. As far as I know, unless Steve has it hidden, neither one of us have a vacuum bed or anything.
I had one on my old a couple of my original CNCs. They were more home built machines, and so yeah, they did have vacuum beds. As a matter of fact, what made a really good spoil board in there was ceiling tile, because you can draw vacuum through that, but you can also cut into it. Now, as it loses, as you cut into that tile, it tends to lose its holding ability. But yeah, I have used them in the past, and they can be nice, but they also can create other issues as far as now, dust extraction is a little bit trickier because you got vacuum pulling down on it with the other. So through cutting is kind of where it loses its appeal, because you can damage the vacuum bed, and then it's trying to pull in any of the chips and the dust. So, but they are kind of nice because you drop your piece of plate, you turn that vacuum on, and if the machine moves it, something really bad happened. So.
Yeah. Dark Forest is wanting to know, will 4H PVC and WYES. Make a decent extraction avenue for multiple laser machines. I have a 4-inch VivoSun inline fan. I'm thinking of printing a few adapters.
It will. Now in chip collection, people don't recommend it as much because it can build up static, and you got to make sure to ground it. I would be concerned about cost and weight over, getting just aluminum or, the steel piping, the sheet metal piping. You might want to check on the cost of the PVC versus just the lightweight.
If you were
aluminum.
using like thin wall sewer PVC, it might not be as bad. Like, I wouldn't think.
No, it's. I mean, you're for me. I'd be looking at the. I would be looking at the. I would prefer not to use it if I don't have to. But if it's what you have on hand, or it's more easily available, or cost, yes, you can use it. You got to just make sure you can seal it up like anything, and then you got to be able to support it.
I would think even like conduit would work for what you're using it for, because it's low pressure. It's just sucking fumes and stuff out.
You got to remember it's about volume, and the smaller the pipe you get, the more you got to pull through that to get the same volume. So
but you can get like 4, 6, 8-inch pipe for conduit, but it's just some of it is the thinner metal, or you can get it in plastic.
I mean, at that point, I think you just go to the HVAC section and get the pipe, though.
Well, I'm just speaking for like, say if you work in a field in which you have access to certain materials, i.e., HVAC, or if you do plumbing, or if you do electrical, and you have some 4-inch conduit sitting around. I mean, you can any kind of tube that will hold suction, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the less flammable, the better, in my opinion.
Yep.
So that would be a plus.
And the big thing, you want to make sure you're, anything that gets you away from this type of hose is good. And anything that gets you away from sharp bends, nice, smooth 45 bends are going to help keep that airflow moving. But yeah, PVC will work. Otherwise, check out the HVAC section for the thinner walled pipe.
Yeah. Multicraft Neo. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. You said, was it on Maker World? I don't know. Let me know which one you're talking about. And not sure what Maker World. Any tips for an aspiring contractor? I don't know. I'm not a contractor, so not sure.
I've seen people use this. I haven't done it myself, but composite nails for holding materials to spoil board. I've seen people work that pretty well as well.
Yeah, I saw somebody the other day was using just like a regular brad nailer, and I was like, see, my luck, I would chew through those with a bit, and then there I'd be. But yeah.
Well, I mean, you've done other things to break bits, so.
Oh, I have, but I'm trying to slow that down. Not sure what company. Steve is asking, so that company you've mentioned before. I'm not. That's the comments is behind. I'm not sure what that's supposed to. It's just what the S says. Not sure. I'm getting like half questions over here.
Yeah, it's if we talk too long on the topic, we get a little behind some of the.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole earlier that got us behind.
There's one you can do a demo on. Asking about adjusting the travel speed when homing on the Atom stack.
Regarding the modified travel speed. Get my Atom stack. They pull it up. I could do a short, I guess, on it later on. The shorts are a little harder to do if you can't do them with your phone, because Lightburn update. No thanks, not right now. Did they just, was it 17.0.3? They must have found some bugs. Let's see here. Let me turn the machine on real quick so I can talk to the controller. I mean, that enclosure is a little loud. Let me use this one. This one doesn't have the fans on the switch on this one. That one over there is automatic. So let me get this up here. We're going to go over to the Stack A70 Pro. All right. So I'm going to home the machine. All right. It's already home. And out of habit, I'm going to move it up to my park location, which is up top left corner, and update my overlay. All right. So travel speeds. When you're going into your machine, go to edit, and you're going to want to go to machine settings right here. Before you do anything in here, before you even think about doing anything in here, you want to go right here and hit save to file. Take and go and create yourself a folder somewhere. Put it so that you know where it is. I have folders for every machine that I bring through the shop. And go in here, and if you'll notice, like right here, I've got A70 Pro controller backup LBSET, and this one's May the 14th. Well, I'm not going to mess with that one, but I'm just going to put this one as A70, and I'm going to put the date 10/27/2024. Oh, it's not going to let me do the date. I'm not going to be able to do that in the file name. So what I'm doing is I'm backing up the settings that's in this controller currently, and I'm just going to hit save. Now, I like to, after I hit save, just to make sure, go ahead and hit load, and just make sure, just be sure that that did save. That way you don't mess up. But when you go in here, you're going to have different settings. Like this is your homing feed rate. This is the slow side. This is the fast side. The X40, you're going to want to change these, and feel free if you have an X40 to snag those. That's 200 and 2000 for the homing speed, because this thing homes really, really slow out of the box. Now, over here, output settings, you're going to get this little pop-up that says you're in the danger zone. Make sure you're backed up and then hit yes. When you get into here, these are going to be your travel rates, like your max speeds and so forth. So if you've got a machine that's being hindered as far as not moving as fast as you want it to, you can change these. Like that's your X max rate. That's the speed, $110. And then that's your max travel. This is going to be the size of your bed. So that's really not something you're going to worry about unless you're changing the size of the bed. But then your Y max travel rate is here. Now, as far as like when you're framing and stuff like that, the speed of how fast your laser moves through here when you're framing and everything is set based on these settings up here. And I'll set this, let me set me a little design in the middle of the work area. So if I've got this set up here and I go over here and I set this speed to 50. All right. That's the speed. If you click on this frame button right here and hold it, it's going to tell you it's going to trace the cut boundary with the laser head. Speed is taken from move panel speed setting, which is right here. But you can hover over these and it'll tell you where it gets its settings. So just like with the home button, all these little movements here are going to get their speed from there. So I'm going to put this on camera so you can see it, and then I'll hit frame and you'll see how fast it frames. Well, I forgot this one's got the accelerator coming out of the hole. This thing actually moves fast coming out of the hole. So I'm going to move it back to the park location. And then we'll change it back to, I'll put it at, frame it at 150 millimeters a second. Put you back on camera and then frame again. And you see how much faster it frames. So as far as framing speeds, those are going to come from here. All your other movement speeds are going to be in here in your machine settings. The main one is going to be your home those are going to be the most noticeable ones. If you do need to change your accelerate or your max speeds, you can change them in here. Most machines that I've been seeing now from Atom Stack, I haven't really been messing with the max travel speeds because they're plenty fast enough. But the home right here, these two, slow homing and the fast homing, those you may want to tweak, especially if you get some of the newer Atom Stacks. But you think that covers it? Did that cover what we needed to cover? But yeah, that thing right there moves. Look at that right there. 150 millimeters a second frame speed. All right.
I just found the while you were doing that, and I was completely not paying attention. The STL files for the little clamp that Clack was talking about, they are out on Thingiverse, which is another STL sharing site. So I dropped that link out there. These are the ones I printed off, not on the Bamboo. On I forget which printer I printed these on, but they just like Clack showed earlier. You can download that STL, drop it in, and print it out. So another site to look at. I've used Thingiverse quite a while. They do have an occasional laser files and such. So, take a look at things that are out there. And
yeah, another thing too, and I don't know if they want me telling everybody about this, but Carbide 3D actually has a collection of 3D printable things on their website that relate to CNCs. Now, like these little guys, these essential clamps, there's some dust shoe clips. There's all these little parts. A lot of these are for their machines, but on the same note, some of them aren't. Like you got these little adapter sleeves and stuff like that. You've got this flexible like hose mount that you could use to mount your hose with for your dust collection. These clamps, and then of course you've got like bit boxes, corner squares, stuff like that. These are all files that Carbide has here, and you can literally like click on one of them, and then you can download the files from them. Don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. You just download these files and hit print. So another little free resource for you brought to you by Carbide 3D. And like I said, this stuff is not necessarily just for the Shapeoko. I mean, it'll work with whatever machine you may have. But now this is kind of their clamps that they ship with it. So yeah, just another little resource for you there.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, a lot of little hidden nuggets on that Carbide website. I didn't realize it until I started shopping for CNCs, and then I found all that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, these are my guys. Oh, wait a minute, hey.
Yeah, it's always nice when companies offer 3D printed parts without charging for them,
Yeah.
or the files anyway. It's like,
yeah.
There's some who will sell you the files. It's nice when the companies will just say, hey, these are useful, use them.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking on people to sell files because I sell files too. But with the CNC, that's a really expensive piece of equipment. But the fact that they actually give me the STLs for certain parts so that I can add to it, I think that's a good bonus to go along with when I buy the machine. Mm-hmm. Appreciate it there, Trade Skillers Anonymous. Glad you like it. It's like I said, it's just our little window into the Steve and I's universe that is our shops.
Yeah.
Okay, Darren's saying that he was talking about the CNC clamp, so you must have figured that one out.
Yeah, I saw that while you were chatting.
Fred said it needs a hold down video, so you're gonna have to do one with the Onefinity, and I can do one with Shapeoko.
Joseph, you can run multiple instances of Lightburn. So what you got to do is go back out to your desktop or where you have the icon for it. You actually need to launch a second instance of Lightburn, and then you can connect that to a separate machine and do that. So a little bit different than how XCS is implemented in tabs, but yeah, it's completely doable. You just gotta make sure it's a separate instance of it. So Clack's going to give a little demonstration of that here. There you go. I wouldn't want to run it this exact way, but
well, I'm trying to get it on the screen where I can show
I know.
everybody.
Yeah, no.
I usually now I do actually do this, but what I wind up doing is I like go over to my window and get rid of this art library while they're burning. So just go to window, turn off the art library. That way I can see, like with this one right here, update overload. So wait a minute, COM port's wrong. Window.
See, now with the laptop, I had 3 screens. Now I'm down to 2. And I would just drop one on one screen and one on the other. But
yeah, I mean, I can load another. So like if I had this one, we can go ahead and let me see, cut some layers. Well, that'll work. That ain't gonna hurt my honeycomb. I don't want to burn my honeycomb up. So if I've got that one running over there, and then I can come over here on this machine and cut some layers. Yeah, that's not gonna hurt it. We'll go here, frame it out. I have a clean spot on my honeycombs. And so there you go. So now I've got 2 machines running on one computer. All right. All right. So if I wanted to open another one, I just go up here to File, hit New Window. It's going to open up a new window, but it's opening on my other screen. So I'm going to hit No on that update. I'm going to bring this up here. On this one, we're going to go to the Rolly MK2. Hide that art library again. Camera, update overlay. Same situation. Go over here on the machine. Wait, COM port 19. Nope. 18. Yes, 18. All right. Make sure I don't hit my clamps with this. All right, so I'm going to frame that out. And let's see, cuts 375. Yeah, here we go. So now we have 3 machines running on one computer at the same time while streaming. So there you go. But yeah, you can. I have ran up to 5 at one time. I think is the most I've done. But yeah, so we're gonna stop all these before I burn holes in honeycombs. And home them all. There you go. Voila, 3 machines. Got to turn everything off now.
anyway, well, we've rolled over by 9 minutes.
Oh, you're bad.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, your fault.
You're the one showing off with your 3 lasers. He only asked for 2.
Well, I mean, I had to make sure that he was certain that it could be done.
Yeah, no, that's that's what we like to do with the shows. Answer questions, and if it's something we can show on the screen, or wow, if it's something we can show on screen to help you out, it's all the better. So, keep those questions coming, but maybe not tonight. We're going to wrap this up, but looking forward to next week, November 3rd, 7 p.m. will be our 100th episode. Clack's going to be dressed up in a tuxedo to celebrate.
I don't own a tuxedo.
but yeah, we'll be back here, and we're excited to do this one. So make sure you're here. And while it might lower your chances, spread the word. We are enjoying this, want to continue to grow it, because the more this show is popular, and I know for a fact, I've talked with some of our contacts at Adam Stack and XTool, and they, whether they watch it live or they watch the replays, they know what we're doing here and they appreciate it. So the more they see of this, the more we can help, do more of these things for you. So I've got links to Dave's channel down in my video descriptions. He's got links to mine along with some of our videos and such. If you haven't liked both videos, please do that. Drop a comment on them afterwards. Help spread the word about what we're doing here. Help us grow this so we can keep doing more of these. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, well, first I'm going to answer this question from Daryl here. He says, looking to engrave some glass on the MK2, but never engraved glass before. How should I go about it? If you'll just go to my videos, as well as I think you've got some on glass as well, just search the keyword glass. And if you've never done this, guys, and I'll show this to everybody just in case, because I mean, we do like for people to, be able to research our content if you have a question. So the way this works is, let me go up here. So if you go to, let's go to Steve's videos. All right. So if you're on Steve's channel and you want to know if Steve has a video on a certain topic, if you'll click on the little video tab right here, if you look over here beside it, there's this little search button. All right, you can literally type in here if you want to see if he's got a video on glass. We'll just type the word glass in, hit enter, and there we go. Apparently, Steve does not have very many videos about glass. So, on another note, if you wanted to see what Steve has that might be a Christmas idea, we'll type the word Christmas in here and hit enter. So now you can get to see Steve's Christmas ideas. So this is something that a lot of people, I don't know if they just don't know about it. And if you didn't know about it, let me know if I'm actually teaching you something. But this allows you to search any content. So if we wanted to see his video on, I know he's got a video on one of these, his Acer machines, we could type the word Acer in there and it's going to pull it up. All right, same thing. Some of you guys were asking about a honeycomb. We can type in the word honeycomb. Well, I said I could. My keyboard's been giving me some crap. We could type in the word honeycomb right there, hit enter, and it's going to pull up the videos that Steve's done on honeycombs. And apparently, even because we talked about honeycombs tonight and put some links down, you're going to be able to see those lives as well. I don't know how that happened, but okay, that's cool. So just use those search features. So if you go to, I know I got some glass ones, so we'll just use mine, for example. You go to my channel, you hit that little search and type in the word glass. All right, it's going to pop up videos with the keyword glass. So, and just because, if I'm doing it with a diode laser, just because it's not the MK2, doesn't mean the process doesn't work the same way. Now, I will tell you this. If you go too far back right here, guys, beware. Early Clack Shack videos were very crude, poorly edited, and a little bit hilarious. So, but there's anything that has the keyword with glass in it here on my channel. So use those little search functions. We appreciate that, because that means that even though the video may be an older video that we put out, it'll allow you to find it, get the information that you need, as well as help, get some views on our videos, because that's why we make videos, just to have people watch them. So yeah, if you didn't know about that little function, there it is for you.
I know I've done some work on glass before, but it may have been in one of my rotary videos, because I was showing some frosty stuff. And that's the thing, is that for better or worse, I try to, in my review videos, throw some nuggets of like, hey, here's some good information for anyone using this type of method. But then it gets lost in the, obviously you can't find it.
Yeah. Everybody's wanting me to wear a tux shirt now. You done started something.
Oh, do I have to send you one?
But yeah. Buskrat, just like what I said just now, if you'll go to my channel and go up here and type in enclosure and hit search, it'll pull up all my videos about enclosures. And one of those videos is going to be EnclosureZilla, the best diode enclosure ever built. I've also got some other videos where I built other enclosures for different people. And this is some early Clack Shack right here, guys. This was very crude, but it worked. So yeah, EnclosureZilla is the video of that enclosure that sits beside me right here. Shack. So y'all just bear with me. But there you go. So, but you can go check that out. That goes into all the details. There's even a parts list in the description of the things that I use to make it, as well as I have drawings on my website also. And you can see that in this video, I've actually made some modifications. That fan is no longer there. I took that out and redid it. I've got a fresh air intake there now. So there's been some changes made to it over the years. Maybe I need to do an update. But there you go. But yeah, just use that search key. It works good. Nancy, if you're going to get a cheap 3D printer, I think Steve would agree with me. The A1 Mini is awesome, easy to use for small stuff. And I think it's what, $200? Ain't that what you wound up paying for it?
Well, they've got it on the Black Friday sale right now. And I think it's $299. I think it's $50 off. They had it on a ridiculous price of $199 for the A1 Mini recently, but
yeah. But the A1 Mini would be great for like small stuff, like we were showing with the hold downs and stuff like that. Now, any big stuff, you're going to want something bigger. But anyway, and last question, Dave, with the Hurricane, do you still need to add coating to engrave clear glass? And the answer is no. Matter of fact, if you go back and search for those glass videos, the last one that I did was some green glass that I engraved on the Hurricane, and I did it without any kind of marking spray or anything. So yeah, but yeah, use that search function on the videos, guys, and it'll help you find a lot of stuff sometimes that you may not think that we have, because over time videos will get just lost in the background. But that's it.
I stand corrected. The A1 Mini is on sale for $199 right now. So that's a pretty good deal. I'll drop a link to. It's one of my links if you want to check it out, to the Bamboo site. But yeah, the base unit without the AMS is $199. So that's a pretty good deal on a pretty easy to use printer. Yeah,
I think it would be easy to use, and I think it'd be great for like small stuff, like what we do, which is adapters and parts and stuff like that. If you needed a 4-inch adapter, you could make it on an A1 Mini. If you needed some hold downs for your laser, you can make them on an A1 Mini. So, and it would be a economical way of getting into it also. So I think it'd be a good fit.
That being said, the A1, the regular size, is only $299. So
yeah, if you want a spring for that, that's the one that I have, and it works great. I love it. But anyway, back to you, Steve. I am done. I'm going to call it because I'm going to keep answering questions if they keep posting them. So I'm going to look away from the questions now.
All right, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Please come back next week. Like the videos and put some comments out there. Help make sure people are getting noticed. And we'll try to get Clack dressed up in a tuxedo T-shirt for next week.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Otherwise, we'll see you online, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to put out the video early, guys, and with a nice, cool thumbnail. Share it and see if you can get some people in there for us next week.
Sounds good. Bye.